Happy Tuesday, everybody. Theo, what's going on, brother?
Let's go. Oh, we're live? We're live.
We
How,
are
how you guys
live,
doing? How
man.
you guys doing over there? How we doing? How you doing,
Oh,
brother?
I am good.
Good, good. I'm good too.
I am entertained. I am entertained. Let me just put it that way because I do really feel like, and you and I've said this before, but like Star Wars is like back. Like Star Wars is back. It's kind of like Star Wars is fun, and it's been like consistently fun in a way where not everything else has been consistent lately. It's almost like, oh, thank goodness, there's a reprieve. Like between like a bad Marvel movie, maybe a bad DC movie, maybe a one we don't even get to care about. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, thank God, at least we have Star Wars right now, you know?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't been this excited about Star Wars like since I saw Luke Skywalker at the end of Mando season 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, these last few episodes, no Jedi. I don't even think they said the word Jedi.
No.
Which, remember, my
Well,
biggest thing is like Star Wars is
short.
always better with a lightsaber. Lately, it seems like it's been just fine without a light. I
It's
mean, you got
just
the dark
fine.
saber, whatever. Okay, but
It doesn't
yeah,
count. We had Andor; they were doing great. I feel very sincere that Star Wars is actually doing okay without a lightsaber as the main protagonist system, kind of situation.
I'm
So
pretty
yeah, I'm
shocked.
I'm
Really
there.
quick, Daywalker, Nigel, LaCruz, appreciate you guys. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in.
Thank you for
We actually
joining,
have a
guys.
special
So
guest today.
special guest today. This is going to be now because Star Wars is happening on Wednesdays for essentially the rest of the year. Disney's planning on pumping out basically Wednesdays are Star Wars Day. Thursdays are going to be a Star Wars Day here with us at Comics and Chaos, and we're going to start to develop a deeper bond with our brethren on the dork side of the force, with, all things considered. But yes, we are going to be getting into it, and we're going to be bringing out our friend Mac from goodness gracious, Kessel Run Comics. We're going to be joining us in just a moment here, and you're going to be seeing a lot more of him with us because there's one thing about loving a show and a series and all of the things that come with it, and there's another to just know copious amounts of information on the topic. And if Theo and I are anything, we're blessed with friends that thankfully know all kinds of awesome stuff and can educate us every time we
Yeah,
talk. And Mac is one of those guys, dude. So this is awesome. Actually, the most awesome part of it is Mac being excited to be here. So that's
hey, you know what? If we can get a Star Wars aficionado, I'll
oh,
take it. I'll take it.
amen. Amen. So without that being said, let's get started here, guys. We're going to give our quick new little short intro and we're going to get right into it. All right. Without further ado, number one, Posh. Thank
Posh.
you every single time, my friend. And without further
Blue
ado,
Lantern, what's up, bro?
Mr. Mac, Kessel Run Comics, Mac Barnes. How's it going, brother?
How are you,
What's
sir?
going on, my friends? Thank you so much for having me on and for welcoming me to your family. Like, I'm blown away. Like, this is
Thank you
lit.
for taking the time, sir. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's a small brotherhood right now, but it's just expanding. It's expanding exponentially, and we're blessed. We're blessed with good people. That's the best part.
Amen.
Everybody knows something, and we're all getting the opportunity to learn new things. But I've always been impressed with your posts. I've always watched and felt out of the loop at times too, because I used to be a huge Del Rey Star Wars fan, so I was reading all the novels, and of course, it being retcon broke my heart. But at the same time, too, it left Star Wars with totally new ways to go, which I loved.
Right.
However, I have not kept up with comics, and that was something that I saw you specifically still keeping up with, and talking Star Wars to a degree that the nerd in me was always every single time like, man, this young dude, if I knew half the shit he does right now at the age of 25 as well, like, could I imagine the kind of guy I would be right now in Star Wars? I'd be so deeply versed in it. I can't imagine. So, man, you coming out here and spending the time with us and answering the call when I reached out, I am so excited. You know, and Theo was just like, really? He's he's willing to do this with you? I'm like, yeah. He was like, let's go, man. We got a Star Wars show. So, you know, here we are. It's been fantastic, man. I appreciate it.
Yep. Appreciate you, man.
So,
I appreciate you guys.
Question for you. Give us a little bio on your background before we get started. Tell us a little bit about Mac and Kessel Run Comics. Tell us about your Star Wars background and a little bit about you.
So my love for Star Wars was cultivated from a very, very young age. My dad is a diehard Star Wars fan. But like you guys, like he is always complimenting me and being like, man, even though I've been a fan so much longer than you, like I can't remember all the names and the planets and the connections and like all this sort of thing. And you just you took my love and just like evolved it and took it to a whole new level. So while he's my guy, we watch Mando together every single week, every single morning, whenever it comes out. And he's the one who originally introduced me to the films the right way. Don't you worry. Like with the original trilogy first, even though I grew up the prime age to introduce to the prequel trilogy. And the first Star Wars.
You're talking about episode 1 and.
Yeah, the prequel trilogy is 1, 2, 3.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but he did it in 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3 is what he's saying. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean that is the way. Okay.
That is the way.
Oh, absolutely.
that is the way.
Though I'll discuss something after that. You just made me think of like what I like to call the machete order, and this isn't something I created, but it's something that I saw online one time. But I'll finish with my bio first. So basically, my dad just put me on Star Wars, got me super duper into it and everything. And he really, all he had to do was show me the movies once or twice, and then he would come home from work and I'd have one on. Or he'd, come up to my room and see that I was, playing with Star Wars toys or playing a Star Wars video game or reading a Star Wars, kids book or whatever. For as long as I can remember, by the time I was about 10 or 12, because I got introduced about 5 or 6, but about the time I was 10 or 12, I really realized how huge this universe was and how much more I could get outside of the movies. And so then I just started to rabbit trail. And then like shortly after that, YouTube became a really powerful thing as a resource for me to learn more and look at people's videos. Of course, I started surfing the internet and using Wikipedia and like all that, and just like went nuts. And I think to this day, my singular biggest Star Wars achievement, even though I wish I could say it was Kessel Run, was actually when I was 16 or 15 and a half. And this was right after the Disney acquisition. They had come out, Disney, and said, all this stuff is Legends that you knew. And like, I was crushed the same as everyone else. But there was already so much I still didn't know about the Legends material or now Legends material. And so when they recanonized it, I was like, so the only thing that's considered canon is Clone Wars. Rebels had just started. They were like Clone Wars, Rebels, and all the movies. And I was like, okay. Well, if everything now is going to get released through comics and books for the most part to continue to expound and develop this universe, I was like, well, then I have great potential to like literally know everything about Star Wars or everything that's canonical at least. So I was like, I got to go get a comics pull list. That was the very first thing I did, especially because I had just gotten my license. Like I said, I was about 16. And so I went nuts with that. I started going to Barnes and Noble and buying books and reading, and in anticipation for The Force Awakens, because that was going to be outside of getting to go to the theater as a kid and see Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3. That was the first Star Wars movie I saw in theaters.
Yeah.
When I found out they were going to do a whole nother trilogy and do spin-off movies in between and everything with Solo and Rogue One, I was like, man, I'm going to create an Instagram page and I'm just going to like go nuts and post fan art and info and drops and news updates and just everything. I'm going to go crazy. And I'm a long-winded person, as you can see, but I created The Force Awakens. The Force_Awakens was my account. I still have access to it, but because I've done Kessel Run and that's tied into my what used to be a brick and mortar comic shop, now online comic shop, I haven't put nearly as much effort into The Force Awakens anymore. But that was also because the algorithm screwed me over. But at one point, The Force Awakens, yes. Back when The Force Awakens account of mine was big was when it was still timeline based on time. And you could just see my post as long as it was,
the
within
classic
the
days.
day. Right, exactly. And I miss that. God, I wish it would go back. But, I understand for like money and all this other sort of thing, but it's different now. But I got to the point where I had over 82,000 followers on that account. And like it was bonkers. And then when the algorithm kicked in, it was harder to reach my audience. And I had just gone off to college because I followed through with doing The Force Awakens at least a year after the movie came out, or maybe 2 years after the movie came out. And so just like wildfire, my followers started falling off, not only because of the algorithm, but because I was getting distracted with being a young adult and all that sort of thing. Yeah. And now the account still, I believe, has maybe like 45,000 followers or so. And I've tried to kind of like get people to come over to Kessel Run, but it just doesn't work that way. You guys know how it is promoting yourself on social media and everything. And
unfortunately, yes, I do.
Unfortunately, we're learning every day.
Unfortunately, yes.
That's a little bit about me.
No, that's awesome, dude.
Great
that's
story.
Awesome. So,
yeah.
Who's your favorite Star Wars character?
Dude.
And why?
I mean, it's like seasons. Certain characters will come in and be like my favorite character for a while, but I don't think there will ever be a character when he's done right. And I feel like The Mandalorian's done him right. And Battlefront was really the place where I feel like he was done the most justice outside of the original trilogy. But I'm a Luke Skywalker guy. And I mean, originally that was because, he was the only Jedi and he was like, the good guy. And I could relate, not only personality wise, but phenotypically. I mean, he doesn't have curly hair, but I have blonde hair and blue eyes. And so I was like, I can cosplay as him. And, I got his lightsaber was the first lightsaber I got. And so, I mean, yeah, I was just like, Luke's my dude. Luke is my dude.
Yeah, I can agree that Mandalorian definitely got Luke the most right of what we all imagined was Luke was doing after Return of the Jedi, with that scene of just like mowing down those freaking.
They pulled a Rogue One with Darth Vader,
Yeah.
Way to steal the show, bro.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
I just want to. I'm gonna have to talk to Posh about having him play both of those two scenes at the same time.
Yes, dude. Do it.
You see why I keep saying Star Wars is better with a lightsaber? It just is. Okay, it just is.
But yeah, that would be dope. But with that though, yeah, I have to have respect on that. Theo, who's your favorite Star Wars character?
You'll actually like this. I watched Star Wars Visions. I'm actually new to this character. I don't even know his name. But I like the guy who's got the katana saber.
The Ronin.
Yeah. I like him. That is my guy.
Right?
I don't know his name. Right. I don't know his origin. But from what I've seen, I fuck with that guy. I don't know if he's good or not.
I was saying,
I don't know, but I like that guy.
I don't know for sure how Theo found me, but I'm almost positive you found me, Phil, through my Ronin post, like with the comic.
Yeah.
Dude, 100%. That caught like wildfire. I mean, it makes
Dude,
sense.
I like that,
because
and I like
Windu-
that. I like the animation style. It was like
Oh,
Yes.
the
Sin City meets like old school Street Fighter anime. You know, it was like,
Yeah.
oh, dude.
yeah,
Takashi
yeah.
Okazaki
He
is
was
the man.
just smart. Like, yeah, he knew how to fight, but the way he beat that Sith Lord was like, oh, you think I'm dead? You coming for me? No, I'm underneath a waterfall waiting for your ass.
Yeah,
Right.
and he wasn't, and
Like,
it
I'll
was all
just
a
stab
ruse.
you in the back. We're not even gonna fight. I'm just gonna be smart. We're just gonna stab you in the back.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
that was
he's just ruthless.
that's probably the most
And then what makes you
satisfaction
really
I've
like him
had,
is
Theo, ever.
at the end you could tell he like collects the kyber crystals. He's like got this like jacket, but then
Yeah.
he like sees the kid and he's like, you can have one.
Just
Dude,
He's just like, here, you can have take one.
yeah.
so freaking epic.
looking
I
at you,
love
kid.
that character.
It took me, so just so you know, Mac, it took me weeks to convince Theo to like, dude, it's just 10 minutes, man, but I promise you're gonna love this one episode. I don't know. And he watched it. So me hearing that's like the
Right.
best news I've had all day. That's
Validation!
like, all of a sudden, like, I was right. You loved
Yeah.
him.
It was good.
He's badass. He's badass.
He is bad. That's my favorite character right now.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
yeah. I can.
And you know me,
understand.
I'm a weapons collector. I got katanas. Like the minute I saw the, I was like, that's me. That's my fucking guy.
Yes, sir.
That's who you should cosplay as, Theo.
Yes, dude. Do it, Theo. Do it.
Half
Dude.
hair now?
Dude, you got the hair. You got the facial hair too. Oh, dude, that would be dope. Could you imagine if we could get like a dark saber kind of like but red, so it would look like a katana coming out. Oh,
Like take out the light, put in a
bro.
red LED light.
Yeah,
Yes, dude.
bro.
Yes.
Yeah, John Wick would be cool.
I
But
would do that. I would do
everybody at that convention would know who the fuck you are if you did that. That would be.
There you go, Nick, right there. It's a must. Boom,
Telling you, dude. Telling you.
done deal.
Yeah.
But no, I really like that episode. One of my new
That
favorites.
was-
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. I can't wait until season 2 just because of that. Honestly,
Yep.
It
Dude,
was-
to speak on season 2 really quick, I really hope that with that comic coming out and them showing that alternate version of Mace Windu, I just pray that season 2 has another version of the Ronin and we get another episode with him and we get to see that fight from the comic, or like maybe just before or just after that encounter. Oh my gosh, dude, I would lose it. I would lose it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I'd be down with it. And I've liked Visions. I've liked Visions also taking us away from all the characters that we have known and
Right.
expanding on it in a way that is, and that's what I've enjoyed about The Mandalorian too, because Star Wars is huge. Star Wars is a massive, expansive universe. And when Disney shrank it and just like, nope, all that stuff that you used to know, gone, right? Toast. We're going to start over from scratch. That was heartbreaking. But what's been really cool is seeing them cherry pick the coolest shit that they did have from the Legends universe and starting to bring it in. Like we're getting Thrawns, we're getting, we're getting things. I'm waiting for the Vong to eventually make it in. But
Yes.
we're seeing things like the Ysmiri, all those different things that could remove from your presence from the Force or stop your ability from using it. All these different little characters and parts and pieces. I have loved the assemblage of taking some of the coolest aspects of it, bringing them into this. But what's wonderful is I do love Luke. I'm a Boba Fett fan. I've always been a Boba Fett guy. Like if anybody in my office, I got Boba Fett all over the place, helmets. I definitely love Luke, but all day Boba Fett is my guy. So despite how the show went, he's still my guy. And so that would be my dude. But yes, I love the expansion that we've been seeing in Star Wars. Tremendously.
Talk about some Mando.
Yeah. Talk about a great segue. Talking about some Mando. This last week's episode was I've heard different people say they liked it or they didn't, but I will say honestly, I was the most interested in a singular episode of The Mandalorian this episode than I have been in quite some. I've always enjoyed The Mandalorian, but they always felt super short because they're just kind of it's basic storyline. Like we're
Like rushed.
fighting,
Feels rushed.
yeah. But this one, like I was getting details and I was like getting something building, kind of like I had been getting in Andor. And I really enjoyed this last episode. Really enjoyed this last episode.
Shout out Daywalker. He says Jar Jar Binks is a close second favorite.
Jar Jar.
Telling you what,
No, I'm
Daywalker,
kidding.
we
I'm
can't
kidding.
take you nowhere. We can't take you nowhere,
kidding,
dude.
Wait till Chicago. Oh man, he's
yeah,
gonna get
right?
in trouble.
Wait till Chicago. So let's take it from the top of the episode, right? And this is something that I know is in I know is in your notes as far as things go, Mac. So taking it to the top, when we are in the culvert, right? We're in the mines, not in the culvert, excuse me. We're in the mines of Mandalore, and we just got done seeing the mythosaur. Bo-Katan rescues Din. She pulls him out of the water. They go flying up. They land, smack, and we're back. And we've got Grogu trying to get Din back. Jin's waking up, and she asks him, what did you see anything down there? No, I didn't see anything down there. Did you see anything alive down there? Yeah, I don't remember anything. Why are you asking? Oh, nothing. Right? That's the opening sequence. In my mind, this is just classic Bo-Katan. Now,
Right.
I'll save some of that, but what are your guys' thoughts on just that opening sequence?
You want to go first, Theo?
Go ahead, Mac. Go ahead, Mac.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely think it's classic Bo-Katan, but it's like, why? I mean, you could be wanting to kill it, you could be wanting to ride it, and be like the Mandalores, like the by name of the leader of old, and think that maybe that'll have some sort of parallel or identical sway or clout attached to it, the way wielding the dark saber, kind of commands the legions, and
yeah,
you've got that ability or that pull. I guess something that pops into my mind is it just one? Is it just one? Because I mean, ultimately, just the way we know all things biologically work, typically, unless it's something like a germ, is like everything has to have a mom and a dad. So, like, is there more?
Unless it's asexual. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a frog or something like that. Yeah.
Like a worm or germs.
So more mythosaurs or just one mythosaur? Because if it's more mythosaurs, then like they're gonna have to kind of do the whole deal like the Tong, the original Mandalorian like people species were, and they're gonna have to exterminate them things. Because I promise you, a mythosaur is not going to just keel over or just be like, oh yeah, like continue like ruling.
This is worse than rancors, right? These guys, these make the rancors look like little, kinds of just little, little toads. I can definitely see that.
So for me, I'm gonna go from the beginning and kind of skip to the end on this theory that I have.
Okay.
So beginning, we see her saving Mando. They float up past the mythosaur. But then at the end, for anybody that hasn't watched it, I'm sorry, spoiler alert. They make it back to the main Mandalorians and they get accepted back into the club because she bathed into the waters, right? And she hasn't taken off her helmet yet. I shit you not, the whole time I was thinking, she just has a big, fat smile on her face underneath that helmet when they were all reinitiating her back in, because she's probably like, okay, I got this Mando guy. It seems like he's warming up to me. Maybe we'll be a thing. I don't know. There's rumors Pedro Pascal, he's unhappy that he can't take off his mask. What's the workaround? Well, you get married, you could take off your mask.
Right.
So playing that aspect of it, I'm like, okay, not only is this girl keeping that a secret, but she's also now back in with the Mandalorians. She's tight with the dude that has the dark saber. Who's to say, like, she's not going to get that? She knows where the beast is. She'll go conquer that beast, and then she'll be back in charge where she wants to be. That's immediately where I was thinking, like, okay, this chick has a plan, and she wants to rule.
Yeah,
I could totally
she
see
wants
it.
that throne back, bro.
I could definitely see it.
The whole time I'm like, okay, she's keeping these secrets, and now she's back in the club. Okay, this is going to go somewhere.
I'll take that. I'll take that theory as well, Theo. 100%. That's something Mac and I kind of had ruminated on the other night a little bit too. I think you're absolutely right. I think, and something I know is also in Mac's notes as well. I know we're skipping up. We're going to stick with maybe the Mando side of the story first, since we're here. I think that this acceptance into the culvert, where Bo-Katan had that opportunity. She hadn't taken off her helmet since she went and she rescued Jin. And they go back. They had just come out of the battle, so there was no real time to do it. She just found her army. She just found her people. And if anybody in the Mandalorian fractions that are all over scattered like the stars, right? Like we keep on saying, if there's any one fraction that they would all listen to and say, like, okay, well, if this person's saying it, it's the truth, because these are the most hardcore of the hardcore Mandalorians, right? If anybody's going to witness her riding a mythosaur, it's gonna be this sect of the Mandalorians themselves, this group, because she's had so much animosity towards them. I don't think she's excited to be there. I think she just knows what she has in her hands, which is finally an opportunity to take back Mandalore with people that believe in her, and potentially a person that she could maybe work with, or she can betray and just take the freaking darksaber from. I don't see that as out of the possibility with Bo-Katan, but the person,
I think they're going to have a relationship.
The character Bo-Katan has been in from since
he has been
Dave
so
Filoni.
vocal about, I hate this mask.
Yeah,
right.
That's the workaround, and you make that fit into the plot. I mean,
no, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all. I'm just saying that I know the character Bo-Katan since Filoni came up with her. You know, back in back with the Satine issues and Clone Wars, when she was in Death Watch and all. She is always playing an angle. It doesn't matter what you think she's doing. She's always playing an angle. And the only reason I hope it's not, because Katie Sackhoff is like female heroine to me ever since Battlestar Galactica. She is amazing. She's a great actress. She's hilarious. She plays these fantastic, strong women roles that aren't just written to be some kind of like some kind of some nobody's pandering, nobody's catering. Like, she's just playing a badass. She can do it. She's not trying to emasculate anyone. She's just freaking, I can do it, and that's who she is. And so for me, I want her to, I want Bo-Katan, because it's Katie Sackhoff playing her, to get a redemption arc. I want her to be good. I want her to marry Jin. I want it to go well. I want everything to be like, and maybe she's just realizing this is the perfect opportunity for my redemption arc. But the character Bo-Katan that I'm familiar with in Star Wars has me like, fuck.
Right.
I'm just gonna be honest. I don't know. What do you think?
Me?
Yeah.
Dude, I just don't. I don't want her to be opposed to Mando, but ever since the finale of season 2, when he did, I mean, I'm gonna just assume that he didn't know the rules behind how you claim the darksaber when he beat Moff Gideon. But when that happened, and he quite literally walked in, not only with the darksaber, like, say it would have been like just hanging from his belt, like, okay, cool. But like the fact this man walked into the room with one hand, on the binders that had Moff Gideon bound, and the other hand wielding the ignited darksaber. I didn't even need to see Bo-Katan's face without the mask off, or the helmet off. Like, she had the helmet on and then took it off. And I was like, yeah, she's pissed. She's pissed. Yeah. And at some point, she's basically going to do what Paz Vizsla did in Book of Boba Fett and be like, all right, like, I challenge you. Like, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Like, you know, I'm going to make you yield and I'm going to win that saber. But kind of like what you were saying to some degree is I just really, really hope that they aren't opposing factions or opposing characters. I don't quite necessarily need them to be a ship. I mean, don't get me wrong. If that happens, that's cool. Like, I'm all for romantic relationships in Star Wars. I think that is a pillar of Star Wars.
Yeah,
and
it
we
is.
really haven't had a romantic relationship within The Mandalorian yet. So
I haven't
that
had in any of the shows that I can remember, like the actual like live action shows. There hasn't been any relationship.
unless you're gonna count Cyril and Dedra Miro as kind of like a budding thing there.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't know if I
kind
can
of
consider
tell
it yet.
Bo-Katan was kind of like, you could tell she was like kind of passive aggressive, like almost like first grade kind of love with the Mandalorian, like where she was like kind of mean to him but kind of nice. She was always nice to Grogu, almost like a
Right.
mom.
Yeah,
Like I feel
Yeah.
like I see them both getting together, that being their son and him being like the next Mandalorian Jedi. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't had a Mandalorian Jedi since
since the
like
dark saber.
way back in the day.
The dark
Yeah,
saber was
thousands
the
of
last
years.
Mandalorian Jedi. That was
So
right.
I'm just gonna throw this out. Like, this would be nuts if this happens, and we go on like months and months, or you know, hopefully it's in the plan for all of us, but also for the Lord to have this go on for years, where we're just talking about Star Wars content every day.
That would be nice.
I do think that the Mandalorian title of the show is not about Din, but it is about Grogu.
It
And
is
that
about Grogu,
eventually
I think.
we're going to get to the point where Grogu inherits the Darksaber and Grogu is the Mandalore. Like, because Grogu's going to live hundreds of years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's going to be the Mandalorian Jedi. I'm calling it, hands down.
That's how I think this is all going to end. Whether we have to do some kind of crazy time skip. I mean, Dave Filoni has said himself that we're only about halfway through this story with season 3. So
you're going to see Grogu with Beskar armor and a dark saber right in a damn
yes,
like,
yes, my dude. Yes.
I mean, could it happen? Absolutely. I wouldn't be mad. That is I think you're both right. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Right.
With that hypothesis. I that would just be crazy. And man, Bo-Katan's going to be upset. But I do see where Theo was especially right with the angle that the child, you know, she was kind to the child. And at the same time too, Bo-Katan could have left his ass down there to drown and then just gone and gotten the dark saber.
Facts.
And she could have left him in the cage, and she had the dark saber in her hand and she gave it back to him. When she gave him the food, she could have poisoned it and she could have taken it back from him. You know, and I get it. It's supposed to be one in combat, but there was no witnesses. There was nobody that was going to say it wasn't. The child can't even talk. Who is he going to tell? You know, like tell, like, you know, no, she did it. He wouldn't even be able to, emote that. So at the end of the day, maybe this really is a redemptive arc for Bo-Katan. Maybe Theo's absolutely right. Maybe they're going to have this relationship, and this would be the way out for Pedro Pascal's character to get to take off his helmet more, and do those things. It's entirely possible, and I hope honestly that's the case. My concern is, like I said, I just don't know if Bo-Katan can handle all the pressure of, you know, not being top dog. I just don't know if she can do it. If her ego can take that back seat.
I think the only way that her ego can take that back seat is if, like you guys said, that like if Finn becomes the Mandalore and they become a wedded couple, so then she's technically like queen consort or like queen of Mandalore. And then,
as I know, once they're married, correct me if I'm wrong, she doesn't need to win that in combat. He can let her just use it.
Oh yeah. Because they are, I mean, just like in the real world, you know, you're a union, you're supposed to act as one.
Well,
So
if you're married, your wife always says, "What's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine." Right?
right.
It's supposed to be what's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine. But you know what I'm saying.
Well, we all know. We all know. We all know. We all know. We all
I
know.
haven't quite learned from experience yet, but I hope I'm going to get there.
Don't
I
worry. Don't worry. When
it
comes,
happens to you. Don't worry. It's
you'll look
I
back at
think
these days like, oh, I remember when I was on a YouTube with Phil and Theo with nobody around.
nobody borrowing my stuff.
Yeah.
I
Remember when it
gotta
was all
hide
mine in
myself like
this room?
Theo every 5 minutes and tell the kids, "Shut up, fuck up." Just
You'll get there. I think you're right. But one thing I do want to talk about that's still in the Mando side of the storyline. All of those ships. What
Yes.
got Bo-Katan back to the culvert where she was accepted, where she too had been in the waters and they accepted her into the family. And like we said, she's got an army now. She's got people that believe in her and this person, whatever. But there was a lot of alluding there to, I've made some enemies of some warlords. They don't take too kindly to it. They destroyed her home. So now she's homeless as well, too. Like she has no safe place. So really, this is her best option. We know the culvert is her best option because nobody else likes her. Nobody else has followed her. So,
Right.
but all of those ships, that was 100% like Rogue One. It felt like with all the ships just pouring out, like Return of the Jedi, just ties coming out of
Seriously.
everywhere. And these are the interceptors, which are the no joke. So these aren't run of the mill warlord ties. These aren't the basic bitch tie where you got the look. These are interceptors and bombers. So these are the top tier,
Cream of the crop.
ties. So these are the expensive. These are the hard to gets. These are the reasons why not everybody had one, because they're also only the best kinds of pilots in the Imperial Navy can fly these things.
Right.
This is like Top Gun of TIE fighters, right? Class of pilots in the Imperial Navy getting to use these things. They didn't just throw them at you. They threw at you regular ties, and seeing all of those pouring out, she goes, this is not a warlord's army. This is something way more serious. And Mac, I'll let you take that because I know that was your theory and it hadn't been mine up until that point, because I still wonder if it may be Gideon, but I like your concept on this too.
So we know what was brought up in season 2 in the episode with Ahsoka. It's like, Where is your master, Grand Admiral Thrawn? That's where I'm leading. That's what I think. I think Thrawn is going to absolutely, even if it be the very last episode, kind of cliffhanger into the season, because I do think that Thrawn's place in this story is going to be in the Ahsoka show versus in The Mandalorian. And it won't be until the next season that those ideas and story beats and everything start to cross over. And we'll see more of Ahsoka in Mando, and we'll see more of Mando in probably a season 2 of Ahsoka if it's not still slated to be a limited series. But 110%, I think that was the army of Thrawn. I mean, we know he's coming.
Thrawn has a history with Bo-Katan as well, the leader of Mandalore in the Rebels show, especially because that's when he and her started butting heads because she was leading that resistance.
Exactly.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So I
could see him saying that she is like the biggest threat. I mean, he already knows not only is she trying to get back the Darksaber, I'm sure he's plugged in, being the fact that all of the Imperials that are still left over as remnants are connected, I'm sure, loosely.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't be
Thrawn's
surprised.
Somebody that could pull them together.
I was going to say,
that could pull them off spec.
I'm not surprised if he's here orchestrating all of the small pieces. You know what I mean? Because he's the one that definitely highest rank. And if we've got a full rank, then he's going to.
Yeah, if Thrawn is back, that would be honestly the best news for Star Wars because we have a big bad. And honestly, that's probably the one thing that during this vacuum of shows and series that we've had, it's always Palpatine. It was Palpatine in the most recent series. It was Palpatine before. It was Palpatine in every single fucking trilogy. It's
Yeah.
always Palpatine. It's always him. I would love like last season being like Moff Gideon or these other little things in between. These are characters we've never heard of, we've never really cared of. None of them are big bads. They're bads. They're not the big bad. And Thrawn is honestly the big bad. Like anybody that knows
Absolutely.
the books and the comics, Thrawn is like ruthless. The things
A
he does.
menace.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So
he
I don't know
was
too much about Thrawn, but he is, I'm going to sound like Agent Smith, still only human.
No, he's Chiss. He's
Yeah.
Oh, he's a
blue with
Sith?
red eyes. He's an alien.
Yeah.
Oh, he's an alien. So kind of like
Uh-huh.
the one guy that they killed in Boba
Cad
Fett.
Bane
I
kind of looking.
still think they shouldn't have killed him as quick as they did, but
Oh, I
Cad
don't
Bane?
think he's
Like
dead,
Cad
my
Bane,
brother.
yeah.
I do not think he's dead. Cad
Cad
Bane
Bane's
cannot
not
be
dead.
dead.
I
No.
hope
Cad
not,
Bane's
because
not
I
dead.
liked him, and I'm like, dude, you guys just pulled an Ultron on his ass.
No,
Facts.
no,
Oh,
no. He's
don't
not gone.
remind me.
He's got way too. That Cad Bane's got more lives than anybody. But Grand Admiral Thrawn from the Outer Rim, a member of the Chiss race,
Yeah.
very very militaristic, very hyper intelligent, groomed by Palpatine for so many different years as that militaristic mind, not the heir to the Empire. Yeah.
Daywalker, yes. Hold on to those. Hold on to that series.
Thrawn,
please.
bro. Yeah, Daywalker. I think you just saw his fleet show up in
Yeah.
this last episode. I can see
I
it.
still
And if
love
that
his
is the
Vader.
case,
Okay, I still love his Darth Vader.
well, this is the Darth Vader of military command, right? This
Facts.
guy is Darth Vader of
So he's like a Darth Vader general.
yes.
Right.
Yes, bro.
Exactly.
This is that guy that every single fleet feared, like, oh shit. This is like the smartest tactician there is. And he is 100% hell bent on rule. So yeah, I feel like if this is Thrawn, and you're right, if this is Thrawn, people are going to melt when they see the kinds of stuff we're in for, with probably a few different seasons of a few different shows, which might be cool because all of a sudden we can get like a Star Warsy kind of like everybody kind of assembles. Could you imagine? Yeah. Could you imagine everybody having to work together at the end of a couple of these series for the next year to work to get to this could be the Infinity Gauntlet kind of scenario of Star Wars. Honestly, I would lose my shit.
Especially if Obi-Wan, especially if like Obi-Wan shows up or something like.
At that rate, bro, we got to do a 3 a.m. watch party. We just have.
Yeah. Oh no, that'll be. That'll be 100% live. No, 100% live. Yeah, that's not. Nobody's missing that. Nobody's.
You want to know what I think was kind of crazy with this show, though? This recent episode.
What's up?
It felt like two shows in one episode.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about the Republic stuff yet. All right.
Oh yeah.
That was I'm gonna put it out there. That was weird. It was like I was talking to Phil about this earlier on the phone. It almost felt like what's gonna come in the future for us, like in the real world, right? Everything's clean, everyone's happy, everything is awesome, right? But people that
you're
are
not getting the mind
awesome,
flare,
they're like losing their freaking minds. They're going through a weekly evaluation with a damn droid. Do you have any ill will towards your employees? Do you have any ill will towards the Republic or its representatives? I'm like, this is creepy as fuck, dude. This is creepy, dude. I was like, this guy's
Minority Report
clearly
shit.
lying.
Yeah.
And then like a couple of weeks goes by and he's like, he doesn't answer. And then the robot's like, I'm so sorry if you didn't hear me. Do you have any ill will towards the Republic? And he's like, no. I'm just like, this dude's gonna get caught.
Said, yeah.
This dude's gonna get caught.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was and yes, I think that this was the other This is actually what
B.
made me the most intrigued about this episode. I think they could have just given us what we saw with Din and Bo-Katan, and that would have been a regular Mandalorian episode. But what they did really well this last year was Andor, which was
Right.
intrigue, 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 politics, politics, politics. You know, chess. It wasn't lightsabers cutting people down. It was making moves and strategy above everyone else. And I feel like there's been some strategic moves with that one chick that I know you hate. I can't remember, like Elia or what's her name.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, Elia Kane.
Elia Kane.
The
I
one that
feel
turned on
like,
her friend?
Yeah, bro.
yeah,
I
yeah.
hate that
I
chick.
feel like
That chick's
she's
crazy.
she's that knight on the chess table right now who's going to just start just knocking people off. You don't know where she's going to turn up, and I feel like, and this is something I told Theo, and with your theory, I kind of I twist this a little bit though too, because this character appeared during that Thrawn time frame as well too, was Mara Jade. And that was a character we never did get in this current canon, but it was probably one of the most beloved characters of Legends. And
Absolutely.
I'm not saying she's going to be Mara Jade, but I feel like she was the hand of Palpatine, right? She was
Right.
the ninja assassin of Sith, right? Nobody knew about her. Only person that knew about her was basically herself. She was kind of like that Force Unleashed character kind of concept, right? And
Right.
she was that Sith assassin. And I could be wrong, but I feel like she is working potentially now. I thought maybe it was for trying to free Gideon, but I'm wondering now if she's on the board as one of Thrawn's chess pieces. If you're right and that's his fleet, Thrawn is 100% strategy, and he would be trying to nuke all these little parts and pieces that might to be on to his plan of what he's
The
trying to
loose
do, and like
ends.
and cloning Jedi.
Right.
Remember Jor Kaboth and things of that
Yeah.
nature, and that was all a part of that entire Thrawn legacy. I feel like he's getting all of them out of the way for his Jedi, his Force sensitive clones. Fuck, did we just figure that out? That would be that.
Bro, I've heard people
If we just
throw
figured that
around.
out, that would be fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I have
I
been freaking out because I've seen some people say that they think Ezra is going to serve as like the version of Jorah
Jor
Cabal.
Kaboth,
Like, yeah, like
yeah.
in this. And I'm just like, please don't take one of my top 3 favorite characters and like have him turn to the dark side, or I guess
Brainwashed.
not fully the dark side, but just start serving the bad guys, because I will lose my mind, like in the
So
worst
Theo,
way.
so in the old Star Wars books, especially the Thrawn series, Jor Kaboth was a clone of a Jedi twisted into basically serving, right, and it was just a Force sensitive clone of a great Jedi kind of scenario, and that was a part of Thrawn's strategy, was basically cloning Force sensitive people to basically be like his soldiers of sorts, right? To do this. So they're not Sith, they're not Jedi, but they're Force sensitive. They know lightsabers. They have the tools, the parts, and the pieces, but they're all nuts, right? Because they're not quite the right kind of clones. They're spliced. So we're wondering right now if this destruction of the guy that was really in charge of creating clones that had the best of different parts and pieces, the best of this Jedi. Like you get like a Mace Windu with an Obi-Wan Kenobi with I mean, just boggle your mind with like what they could try and figure out to pull from to make these kinds of clones. That would be that would be a power move. That would be potentially a Thrawn operative in there saying, "Nope, this guy never gonna freaking tell a soul. This is our
Right.
thing. He's
Yeah.
gone." I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. That'd be because that was a beautiful. It was awesome to see Coruscant again at night. It was
Oh
awesome
yeah.
to see the opera, not from the inside, not from the outside, but from the inside again. The last time we saw that was the story, the tragedy of Darth Plagueis, The wise,
Yeah.
it was. Did everyone tell you the tragedy of Darth Plagueis? But that was the last time we saw the opera. So getting to see some of these things again, this was a lot of nostalgia. And I'm so glad we still have Filoni. I am so glad we still have Filoni. A lot of people are just like, well, it's
And
Favreau. I'm
Favreau.
like, Favreau's there. Favreau's guiding from a directorial standpoint and film standpoint, but Filoni is Favreau's the hands. Filoni's
I was to
that
say, Favreau's
brain.
the one that makes it all look pretty, you know?
Yeah, it's like left brain, right brain, right?
Yeah.
Favreau
Yeah.
is the left side. He's the creative, the beautiful, makes it all art.
Music,
And
yeah.
Filoni is the right brain, like, no, that doesn't work with this. Oh, this was what actually happened. No, that's what this actually means. This character's
Right.
never been used except in these 8 scenes. I mean, the man's Rain Man of Star Wars. And he was groomed as Lucas's replacement, right? So I am so glad that they've got Filoni in executive producing, pulling these characters together, because I feel like we are really going to get some crazy stuff going on in these next few episodes, I think. And if you're right, if this is Thrawn, it's going to get a lot worse, a lot faster for our friends. And they're going to need a united Mandalorians. They're going to need Ahsoka and what's left of the rebels. And they're going to need some New Republic help to be able to stave him off, because he is going to come with fury. And if he was taken to the outer side, where we've heard rumors from supposed leaks, they're saying that he's teaming up with Night Sisters.
Oh man, yeah.
And if that's the case, that's really, those are the Force sensitive dark side kinds, like witches, Theo. It's definitely a Clone Wars thing, but they're the ones that made Darth Maul. They're the ones that made his brother to Savage, and Talia. She was one of their assassins. They are Asajj Ventress. She is a Night Sister.
They use more like magic, less like the Force. So like it'll be like green spectral essence coming out of their hands. And it's definitely more dark side oriented and twisted manipulation of the Force.
Yeah. Which would be cool too. Which would be a cool version of the Force we have not gotten to see in live action at all.
Right.
So that being the case, that could be super cool. And especially if he's trying to clone, taking some of the best of some of what's been the best like Jedi out there as far as things go, and then taking some Night Sister magic to kind of like Savage, oppress, and Darth Maul their asses, because that's what they did. They made those guys, Theo. They took them as scrawny ass men, and they had to go through these death matches, and the last one standing would be essentially turned into the Sith, Darth demigod by the Night Sisters through that magic, right? And the essence pulls and the sacrifices. And if that's the case, whatever it is Thrawn's coming out with is going to suck ass for the heroes.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be brutal. Oh, God, I'm glad
I'm excited for next week.
Bro, it's gonna be lit. It is going to be wild.
I'm excited for next week, man.
Jeez, dude. I am really excited that we've got a great series, at least, that's going in a direction that we're having fun with again. I haven't felt this excited, Theo, since we used to have our old Marvel talks, wondering what might happen with all the telegraph moves. I mean, we used like, well, what about this? Right. What about this? Or what about this? And when was the last time we got to have a conversation like that? It's been since like the conventions last, like since San Diego last year. It's been at least a year where we could have like oh my God, could you imagine? This feels to me like like the best of times. Like this might be the fun time again in Star Wars. So I believe it is right now.
We're there.
I think so. I think they've been secretive. I think they've been smart. We've got the Acolyte coming, which is going to be a Sith-based show. And it looks to be it's got the longest. It's going to have the longest runtime of any Star Wars show. I don't know if you guys
Yes.
saw that. But
What's
yeah,
up, Brandon?
and yeah, that news just dropped. Disney Plus Star Wars: The Acolyte is set for a record-breaking runtime. Darth Riven and the prequel era. Yeah, it's officially already filming in the United Kingdom right now. And how did we get here, and why are the Jedi like this? So this is the wars, Theo. This is the where the rule of two begins to kind of come from. And
Yeah.
yeah, they're
But bro, I'll go
there's
ahead and tell both of you guys. I'm pretty sure I don't have to tell you, Phil, but like Theo, being that like we're gonna have to Star Warsify your life a little bit more. And like, bro, you guys both, if you're not already, you gotta be educated on the High Republic. It's a new era. Not many people care about it, not many people know about it. You either love it seemingly or you don't give a crap for it because you're still waiting on the old Republic, which is, where a lot of that Legends material comes from. But that
Right.
Acolyte show is going to take place in the waning days of the High Republic. And the High Republic so far, they're in the middle of phase 2. And I think by the end of the year, we're going to be in phase 3, which will be the final phase. And it's just freaking epic, dude. Like, so many awesome characters. And the fact that this will be the first time that the High Republic will be outside of books and comics, and it will be getting its own show, and a dark side oriented show at that. Like, you guys gotta like be like on your P's and Q's by the time this show comes out, because
time to get some trade paperbacks, dude, or at least pull it up on the app.
Yeah,
Pull it up on the
send me
app,
some
man.
audio videos, okay? Send me some audio.
Got you.
Yeah, we're gonna start having you do recaps.
Yeah, dude, I'll do
Mac
it.
will hold a master class, issues 1 through 5 of the High Republic.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's showing right now, The Acolyte. It'll be 8 episodes. That is their magic number that they love doing with Star Wars right now. But every single episode is slated to be over an hour.
that sounds like a
That's pretty
godsend,
cool.
bro.
That's
A
pretty cool.
godsend. Thank you.
That's because I'm tired of these 15-minute TV shows, bro. Like, that's what I'm afraid of with Daredevil. There's like 18 episodes. I go like, man, if these are going to be 18, 15-minute She-Hulk sized episodes, I may lose my mind. Like, just instead of making 18, make 6. Make 6 45-minute episodes or an hour-long episodes. I don't need to stretch this out for 6 months. I need to be entertained for the time frame I'm in there. And this is going to be this is looking cool. A Sith-based show.
When does this start?
It's already filming. It's launching in 2024. So early next year. This time next year, dude, we won't be talking about Mandalorian. We're going to be talking about The Acolyte.
Facts. Yes. God, it's going to be so epic,
and we probably still won't be talking about the X-Men. Love it.
I know you're a mutant guy. I know you're.
Oh, we will.
I'm waiting.
We will.
I'm waiting with you, brother. I'm waiting with you. I love some mutants too.
We will. Hopefully, but hopefully we're going to talk about the mutants we want to talk about.
Right.
I don't want Camilla Khan to be a mutant.
Here's a hoping.
Yeah. So let's hope that we're talking about the mutants we want to talk about. But in the meantime, this year and next year, there is just solid Star Wars content, and I cannot wait. If it's anything like we've been getting the last year, I am okay with it. Because even though Boba Fett, the book of Boba Fett, struggled, as soon as the Mandalorian showed up, it got hella good again. It had a little bit of a cheesy climax, but damn, I still the last couple episodes. All right,
Luke
we're
in
good.
there, Grogu in there, like.
Well, I don't mind him popping up in the Mando show. Bring him in.
No,
yeah.
Bring Ming-Na Wen back as well. I'll take her as well. Hell yeah, no, bring them. Maybe that's what's going to happen. Maybe we're going to have to get like some scum, some Mandalorians, some rebels, a little bit of New Republic. It's going to take everybody to take Thrawn down, if that's what it is.
Let's do it, bro.
That would be honestly the Infinity War of Star Wars. That would be. And that would probably put Disney Plus on okay, maybe we haven't gotten Marvel right yet, but damn, we're okay with Star Wars. And I'm all right with that. I would still stay subscribed if I'm getting some good Star Wars year round. I'll be okay.
Sure.
So I know we wanted to still talk about the Bad Batch. Maybe we'll save a little bit of that for next week. I want to try and be respectful of everybody's time and try and keep these to a solid hour as far as
Right.
things
I was
go.
gonna say we just hit an hour.
Yeah, we just hit an hour and it was strictly Mando. And this
Yeah.
is and we still wanted to talk about Bad Batch, and we're going to. We'll find a different night to do it, or we'll find a different episode to do it in. But that's just how much was crazy going on with Mandalorian this last week. And this
Yeah.
is just
It was like two
this is just
different
how
shows
crazy
in
we
one
are.
show. And
Yeah.
and one more thing before we cut this. I looked this up and I think it's confirmed, but every Mando show has been longer than the next one. So I think the
With
one
this
coming out
one,
next week is going to be even longer than the one we had this week.
bro,
Oh.
if it is, then it's
Every
gonna be an
Mandalorian
hour.
show has been longer than the next one, even if it's by 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes. But they are going out of their way to make each one longer and longer.
God, I hope, dude.
It's like,
I hope.
dude, is the final episode going to be?
You
2
gave
hours?
Phil chills. You gave Phil chills.
Yep. Yep.
I'm so happy.
Yes,
So
Brandon.
happy.
The Bad Batch is fire,
Tech-
bro.
Tech
Fire.
Geek, yeah, we're gonna get into Bad Batch, I promise. Luckily it was a super cool episode, but it was more of a theory based episode, if anything. So we can definitely still cover that with the next one. But holy crap, yes. Season 3 Bad Batch is 100% nostalgia. Clone Wars just on crack, and taking it to a whole new level. So I'm loving it. But yeah, everybody, tonight, number one, Mac, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to our new little Star Wars family we've got going on here. Anything you got going on this week that everybody should know about that's watching?
Not anything that I already have planned. I guess I am thinking about some content right now, but it varies. Some days I'll kind of just connect pieces and be like, oh, forget what I was gonna do. I got to do this because like I got to talk about it right now. And I think the only real downside from running your own comic book shop, even though it's online, so I don't have my brick and mortar anymore, and it's not that type of crazy. I still have to do archiving and inventory and get up with my subscribers and all this sort of thing. That it sucks how long it takes me in a given week to do my reading. Like, unless it's, something that I know is going to happen in this issue and I'm just like absolutely bonkers crazy about it, then it usually takes me till about Friday or Saturday to do my reading of that given Wednesday's comics. So, and I definitely prefer to do my content.
You're better than me at that stuff. I can't even keep up with that. Comics Explained is like my best friend right now.
Yeah. He's a real one for sure.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I keep hearing about this storyline. I don't own it. I know I can't read it even if I buy it. Let me go listen to this guy break it down.
Is it on the Marvel app? Do we know? Do we know if any of these are on the Marvel app?
Star Wars comics?
Yeah.
I would bet. I mean, since they're published by Marvel, I don't see why they wouldn't be, but I don't have it. To be honest, like I'm not going to plug it because I don't promote it, but I use a website to read comics for free on my tablet all the time. So.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we'll talk about it afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'll plug it because
I need you to give us a reading list because Theo and I got to catch up a little bit. So at least when you're talking about something, we can be like, yes, okay, we're there.
Yeah,
I don't mind Star Wars homework because at least that's fun as opposed to like, maybe I'll like something, probably won't, but I'll take this. I'll take this.
Right.
And you know what? And one last thing, one last appearance that I do, and of course now I'm forgetting her name, which is ridiculous because you've talked about it, and I do think I would love to see what's her name, the Mandalorian archaeologist,
the armorer.
No, the comic book character everybody wants to see.
Oh, Dr. Aphra. Dr. Aphra, bro.
Dr. Aphra. Yes, I feel like this is still the season where we're going to find a Dr. Aphra, especially with us going back to Mandalore. I feel like Dr. Aphra is going to come into this. So, especially looking for parts, he still needs those. He still needs those parts.
Yeah, 2 characters that I want to see from comics more than any other character in Star Wars. Dr. Aphra is a solid number 1 because she was the first like new expanded universe character that I got because she came out, they kicked all the recanonization off with Star Wars and Darth Vader, the two premier flagship titles, and she appeared in issue number 3 of the Vader. So, and fun fact, the first 7 comics I ever bought for myself were Star Wars 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Darth Vader 1, 2, and 3. So,
nice.
Yeah, she was in my first ever pickup. So, I fell in love from first read with that character. But the other character is a character people sleep on. I just bought his 9.8. I wish it wasn't upstairs in my bedroom. Otherwise, I'd flash it. But the cyborg bounty hunter, Baylor Valance. If you don't know about that OG character, bro, OG character. In the 1977 comic series Star Wars, he was first appeared in issue 16. And they just really called him the Hunter. But his name is Baylor Valance, and
I do remember the Hunter. Okay,
sick, bro. Oh my gosh! And being that he's already a cyborg, and he was, walking around the galaxy doing his thing during the original trilogy. If he doesn't die sometime in these comics or whatever, because he is opposing Vader right now, so I mean, Vader could just, tin cannon.
Yeah.
But if he lives on, I don't see why he couldn't pop up in the Mando, and he is a force to be reckoned with, bro. He would be sick too.
Maybe he would be a problem for Boba. Who knows?
Yes, him and Boba do kind of have a rivalry, and like Boba has crossed him a couple times. So
yeah.
Well,
let's save it for next week, man. We've got more stuff to talk about.
Good stuff.
God, great stuff, guys. Thank you so much for joining, brother.
Matt, appreciate you, man.
Looking forward to next week. Next week's going to be great. But until then, everyone, thank you for joining. And we will see you next Thursday for another Star Wars night and more theories and more craziness.
Really quick.
Oh, yeah.
We got the 500 sub giveaway going down on Instagram. It's on One True Nerd King and my page, Rage Theo. So make sure you guys enter that. The drawing is going to be next week. We are almost at 800 subs right now. And then we'll be doing 1,000 giveaway at 1,000. So guys,
someone's gonna get whacked.
Comment, sub, show that.
Share.
We appreciate you guys. Share.
Let your friends know. Let your friends know we're about to get crazy with Star Wars in the coming weeks and months.
Look it up, guys. Look it up. Appreciate you. But thank you.
Comment, and subscribe. Thank you, everybody, and we will see you next week.